The massive Imperial warship hung in space like a dark cloud over Earth. Its silver hull stretched 20 kilometers from end to end, making aircraft carriers look like toys in comparison. Admiral Marcus stood on the bridge, his four eyes narrowing as he studied the blue planet below. "These humans dare to refuse our demands?" he asked, his scales shifting from gold to red with anger. "They have barely reached their moon, yet they think they can stand against the might of our empire." His second-in-command, Officer Reed, stepped forward with a data tablet. "Sir, we've intercepted another message from their leaders. They're warning us to leave." Marcus let out a laugh that echoed across the bridge. The other Imperial officers joined in, their combined laughter making the moment even more dramatic. Only Reed remained quiet, his scales showing hints of worried green. "Show me this message," Marcus ordered, taking the tablet. The screen displayed a simple text. "This is the final warning from Earth's United Defense Council. We have studied your weapons and ships. Your technology is impressive. But we have survived worse. We have fought ourselves for thousands of years. We have nearly destroyed our planet multiple times. Yet here we stand. Leave now, or learn why even our own people fear human warfare." Marcus crushed the tablet in his clawed hand. "Send in the first wave. Target their major military installations. Let's show these primitives what real warfare looks like." The Empire's attack began at dawn over North America. Massive energy beams cut through the clouds, aiming for military bases and defense installations. The humans' primitive missiles rose to meet them, exploding harmlessly against Imperial shields. But something was wrong. "Sir," Reed called out, his scales now definitely green with concern. "The humans, they're not running. Their civilians are not panicking as expected." Marcus watched the tactical display with growing unease. In every previous conquest, their first strike had caused chaos. Civilian populations would flee in terror, clogging emergency routes and hampering military responses. But here, they're too organized, Reed continued. Military convoys are moving through civilian areas without any obstruction. Their emergency responses are practiced. On the planet below, years of disaster movies had done what no military training could, prepared civilians for the worst. Instead of panic, there was purpose. Underground bunkers, built during the Cold War and maintained through decades of paranoia, were being put to use. Emergency protocols, rehearsed in countless drills, kicked in automatically. The Imperial sensors detected something else. Thousands of small ships launching from hidden bases. Not military vessels, but modified civilian craft. Mining ships with reinforced hulls. Construction vessels carrying strange devices. Fishing boats equipped with makeshift weapons. "Sir," Reed's voice cracked slightly. "I've analyzed their communication patterns. These humans, they've had plans for this scenario for over a century. They've made thousands of movies and games about fighting alien invasions. They're not following a central defense plan. Each region is executing their own prepared strategies." Marcus watched as his first wave of fighters encountered unexpected resistance. Human vessels, despite their primitive technology, were fighting with bizarre effectiveness. They used debris as shields, civilian satellites as weapons, and displayed complete disregard for normal combat protocols. "Impossible," Marcus muttered as reports of losses began coming in. "They're using mining explosives to create debris fields. They're turning their own destroyed ships into hazards. They're broadcasting some kind of primitive audio they call metal music on all frequencies." A lieutenant rushed to the command platform. "Admiral, their leaders are broadcasting again." The message was short. "We warned you. This is just the beginning." As Marcus watched his carefully planned first strike dissolve into chaos, he realized a terrible truth. The Empire had conquered species that feared death, species that had superior technology, and species that outnumbered them. But they had never faced a species that had spent its entire history preparing for every possible way to fight back. They had never faced humans before. And as his ships began reporting increasingly creative forms of resistance, Admiral Marcus felt something he hadn't experienced in his 300 years of conquest: doubt. Commander Lisa Walker crouched in the control room of her modified mining vessel, the Northern Star. Around her, the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter provided perfect cover for her small fleet of 30 ships. Each one was an ugly combination of mining equipment and salvaged Imperial technology, held together by welding and hope. "Status report," she whispered into her comm unit, though she knew the Empire couldn't hear them this far out. Old habits died hard. "All ships in position," came the reply from Captain Tom. "The Empire's patrol fleet is following the bait, just like we planned." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. The bait was nothing more than a few dozen remote-controlled cargo containers, modified to give off heat signatures similar to human warships. The Empire, still thinking in terms of traditional warfare, had taken the bait. Through the view screen, she watched as 5 massive Imperial warships moved into the asteroid field. Their golden hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight, their energy shields rippling like soap bubbles. Beautiful, deadly, and predictable. "Remember, everyone," Lisa broadcast to her fleet, "we're not soldiers, we're miners. So let's do what miners do best: make big rocks into small rocks." The first explosion caught the Imperial fleet completely by surprise. It wasn't a military-grade weapon, just a standard mining charge attached to a large asteroid. The blast sent thousands of rocky fragments flying at incredible speeds, overwhelming the Imperial shields through sheer quantity. "Their shields are calibrated for energy weapons." Tom's excited voice crackled over the comm. They never expected simple rock impacts. The Imperial ships tried to regroup, but they were too large to maneuver effectively in the dense asteroid field. Their advanced targeting systems, designed to track energy signatures and heat patterns, were nearly useless against Lisa's fleet. The mining ships were cold, running on minimal power, hiding behind masses of metal-rich asteroids that confused Imperial scanners. "Second wave," Lisa ordered, "just like we practiced." Her crews had spent weeks practicing these maneuvers. Mining ships darted out from behind asteroids, their industrial cutting lasers, designed to slice through rock, now slicing through Imperial hull plating. Cargo hooks, meant for dragging ore containers, instead grabbed onto Imperial sensor arrays and ripped them free. The Empire's return fire was devastating but unfocused. Their mighty weapons blazed through space, turning asteroids into vapor, and creating even more debris for their shields to handle. "They're trying to call for reinforcements," reported Tom, "but all they're getting is static. Turns out asteroid dust plays hell with their fancy communication systems." Lisa watched as her fleet executed their next move. Mining drones, normally used for automated mineral extraction, now attached themselves to Imperial ships like metal leeches. They weren't trying to cut through the hulls, just using their drills to make noise. Constant, maddening vibrations that the Empire's crews couldn't ignore. "Imperial ships are breaking formation," someone reported with glee. "They're trying to retreat." But retreat wasn't as easy as the Empire expected. While they'd been distracted by the attack, other mining ships had been busy using their tractor beams to shift asteroids, creating a dense maze of floating rocks. The Imperial ships were trapped in a 3-dimensional web of stone and metal. "Send the message," Lisa ordered. A simple text transmission went out to the Imperial fleet. "In space, rocks are better than lasers. Lesson 1 of many. Surrender or learn more." 2 of the Imperial ships lowered their shields in surrender. The others tried to blast their way free, but only succeeded in creating more debris that damaged their engines. Within an hour, all 5 ships had surrendered. As Lisa's crews began boarding the Imperial vessels, she received a message from Earth Command. "Excellent work. The Empire is learning that humans don't fight fair. We fight to win." She looked at the captured Imperial ships, now surrounded by ugly, practical mining vessels. The Empire had expected a glorious space battle. Instead, they got a lesson in human ingenuity. Their mighty warships, designed for epic battles between vast armadas, had been defeated by mining tools and rocks. "Send another message to Earth Command," Lisa said. "Tell them we're going to need more mining explosives. A lot more." Captain James Thompson sat in his office aboard the space station Freedom, watching the video feeds from captured Imperial soldiers. What he saw made him smile. The mighty warriors of the Empire were breaking, not from physical torture, but from something far more effective: human nature. "Play the latest reaction video," he ordered his AI assistant. The screen showed a group of Imperial soldiers watching old Earth War documentaries. Their scales changed colors rapidly as they watched humans fighting through world wars, surviving nuclear disasters, and rebuilding from total destruction. But what really disturbed them was the human habit of making jokes in the worst situations. "They laugh," one Imperial prisoner had written in his report. "They face death and they laugh. They lose battles and make jokes about it. How can we fight an enemy that finds humor in their own defeats?" Thompson leaned back in his chair, remembering how this phase of the war had started. 3 weeks ago, he had suggested a new strategy. Don't just fight the Empire. Make them fear human nature itself. On his desk, reports showed the results. Imperial desertion rates were climbing. Their soldiers, used to fighting enemies who followed logical battle patterns, couldn't handle human unpredictability. "Sir," his assistant interrupted, "the broadcast is ready." Thompson nodded. "Send it to all Imperial frequencies." The message began playing across every Imperial communication channel. It wasn't a threat or a military ultimatum. Instead, it was a simple compilation: humans dancing in war zones, soldiers playing cards under enemy fire, civilians making memes about the invasion, children playing Empire and Humans in bunkers while real battles raged overhead. The final clip showed Thompson himself, sitting casually at his desk. "You know what's funny?" he said to the camera. "We're actually holding back. You see, humans have something your Empire doesn't understand: imagination. We've spent centuries imagining all the ways aliens might try to kill us. We've made thousands of movies about it, written countless books. Every human child grows up playing games about alien invasions." He leaned forward. "Want to know the really scary part? Those weren't military training programs. That was our entertainment. We did it for fun." The message was having its intended effect. Imperial intelligence officers were going crazy trying to understand why humans would simulate alien invasions for entertainment. Their psychological warfare experts couldn't comprehend a species that prepared for war through games and movies. Thompson's next move made it even worse. He released training footage from Earth's militaries. Soldiers singing while marching, pilots painting cartoon characters on their planes, submarines crews playing music during combat drills. "Latest report from the front," his assistant announced. "Imperial commanders are requesting psychological evaluations for entire units. They're claiming their troops are experiencing mental contamination from exposure to human behavior." Thompson laughed. The Empire's biggest weakness was now clear. They couldn't handle chaos. Their entire society was built on order, protocol, and predictable patterns. But humans thrived on chaos. He opened a channel to Earth Command. "Phase 3 is working better than expected. The Empire's troops are starting to believe we're actually insane. Some of them think we're some kind of cosmic horror that finds joy in warfare." The response came back quickly. "Excellent. Proceed with Phase 4. Thompson grinned as he prepared the next broadcast. This one would show humans celebrating victories with parties, turning captured Imperial weapons into art pieces, and recording TikTok videos in the middle of space battles. "They came expecting to fight soldiers," he muttered to himself. "Instead, they got humans in all our weird, wonderful glory." As he watched more Imperial psychology reports flood in, Thompson realized something important. The Empire had spent millennia perfecting the art of war, but they had forgotten something crucial. War isn't just about weapons and tactics. It's about the warrior's spirit. And human spirit. That was something the Empire's computers couldn't calculate, their protocols couldn't predict, and their soldiers couldn't comprehend. The Empire was learning the hard way. Never fight a species that turns their nightmares into entertainment. Robert King sat in his underground bunker, surrounded by screens showing lines of code. Empty energy drink cans littered his desk. His team of hackers had been working for 3 days straight, but they finally had something to show for it. "You're telling me," General Adams said through the video call, "that you broke into the Empire's network using a computer virus based on old video games?" Robert grinned, running his hands through his messy hair. "Their AI is too advanced. That's their problem. It expects complex attacks. Instead, we used simple patterns from games like Space Invaders and Pac-Man. Their systems didn't know what to do with code so primitive." The screens around him showed Imperial ships across the solar system losing control of their systems. Their advanced AI defenses, looking for sophisticated cyber attacks, completely missed the basic patterns hiding in their communication networks. "It's like trying to catch a missile but getting hit by a rock," Robert explained. "Their systems are so focused on detecting advanced threats that they ignore the simple stuff. We basically turned their whole fleet into an arcade game." On one screen, an Imperial battleship's weapon systems started playing Pong with themselves. On another, their navigation computers were stuck in an endless loop of Tetris patterns. "Sir," one of Robert's team called out, "you need to see this. The Empire's trying to counter-hack us, but they can't understand our old programming languages. They keep asking their AI what BASIC and FORTRAN are." The room erupted in laughter. The Empire's mighty computers, capable of calculating the movements of entire galaxies, were being confused by programming languages from the 1960s. Robert pulled up another screen. "Watch this," he said to the general. He pressed a button, sending a specially crafted signal to an Imperial command ship. Suddenly, all their displays started showing the dancing cat GIF from the early internet days. "Their crews are panicking," another team member reported. "They think it's some kind of military code they can't crack. Some ships are actually retreating because they're afraid of the cat." But Robert's real masterpiece was still to come. While the Empire was distracted by these apparent glitches, his team had been secretly uploading something else: Earth's entire collection of cat videos. Their data systems are designed to analyze everything they receive, Robert explained to the increasingly amused general. Right now, their most advanced AIs are trying to find military significance in millions of cat videos. It's taking up so much processing power that their weapons can barely function. The Empire's response was exactly what they'd hoped for: total confusion. Their commanders, trained to expect sophisticated electronic warfare, had no protocols for dealing with what they saw as primitive digital chaos. "We're getting reports from the front lines," the general said, reading from his tablet. "Imperial ships are shutting down their communication systems completely. They're afraid of catching what they're calling the human digital plague." Robert's team had done more than just disable enemy ships. They'd made the Empire afraid of human technology itself. Every Imperial vessel now had to choose between staying connected to their network and risking infection by human viruses, or going dark and losing coordination with their fleet. "Should we deploy the final phase?" Robert asked, hovering his hand over a keyboard. The general nodded. "Do it." Robert pressed enter, and across the solar system, every Imperial ship with an active communication system started playing "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley on all frequencies. "Rickrolling the entire Imperial fleet," Robert said with satisfaction. "Now that's what I call electronic warfare." As reports came in of Imperial ships either shutting down completely or playing Earth music on repeat, Robert realized something important. The Empire had built their technology to be perfect, advanced, and logical. But they'd never considered that sometimes the best weapon isn't the most advanced one. It's the one your enemy doesn't expect. "Send word to all teams," the general ordered. "Operation Digital Chaos is a success. Phase 5 begins tomorrow." Robert looked at his screens, where Imperial ships were either frozen, playing old games, or broadcasting cat videos. The most advanced civilization in the galaxy, brought low by the digital equivalent of whoopee cushions and joy buzzers. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their ability to make technology do stupid things. Admiral Marcus stood in his private chamber aboard the Imperial flagship, watching his scales turn from their usual golden color to a sickly pale yellow in the mirror. The reports on his desk told a story he couldn't understand. His mighty fleet, which had conquered 1,000 worlds, was falling apart. "Play the latest battlefield recording," he ordered his computer. The holographic display showed a human ship, badly damaged and on fire, still ramming into an Imperial cruiser. The humans aboard were singing something they called "Highway to Hell" over all channels as they crashed. "Sir," Officer Reed entered the room, his scales showing patches of stress gray. "We have a problem with the prison ships." Marcus turned away from the recording. "Now what?" "The human prisoners. They're teaching our guards to play something called poker and rock, paper, scissors. 3 guard shifts have already been relieved of duty for becoming too friendly with the humans." Before Marcus could respond, another officer burst in. "Admiral, the human prisoners in Block C are what?" "They're holding a contest to see who has the best impression of our emperor. Some of our guards are laughing at it." Marcus slammed his fist on the desk. The Empire's soldiers were taught from birth that the emperor was sacred. The idea of anyone mocking him was unthinkable. Yet here were his own troops, laughing at human jokes about their supreme leader. "Sir," Reed continued, checking his tablet, "morale reports from the front lines are concerning. Our soldiers are asking strange questions. Why do humans keep fighting when defeat is logical? Why do they smile when we capture them? Why do they treat war like some kind of game?" A message flashed on Marcus's screen. Another Imperial battleship had surrendered. Not because of damage or defeat, but because its crew was, in their words, tired of fighting enemies who don't make sense. "Get me the casualty reports," Marcus ordered. The numbers should have made him feel better. The Empire had destroyed thousands of human ships and bases. But for every human vessel they destroyed, 2 more appeared, often cobbled together from debris and stolen Imperial parts. The humans were treating warships like some kind of self-assembly puzzle. "Latest psychological assessment," Reed read from his tablet. "Our troops are showing increasing signs of stress. They report that humans don't react properly to intimidation. When we destroy their cities, they build underground ones. When we cut off their supplies, they make jokes about rationing. When we demand surrender, they send back memes." Marcus watched another recording, this one from a ground battle on Mars. Imperial troops had surrounded a human base, cutting off all escape routes. The humans responded by having a barbecue on the base's roof, grilling food and playing music while under siege. "Sir," Reed's voice was barely a whisper now. "There's talk of mutiny among the fleet. The soldiers are saying, they're saying that if the Emperor is so powerful, he should come fight the humans himself." This was unprecedented. In 10,000 years of Imperial history, no soldier had ever suggested the Emperor should prove himself in battle. "Update from Earth," another officer called from the doorway. "The humans have started a betting pool on which of our ships will surrender next. They're broadcasting the odds on all frequencies. Several of our crews have placed bets on themselves." Marcus felt his scales turn completely white. The color of defeat, his mighty empire, which ruled countless galaxies, was being undone not by superior weapons or tactics, but by the human ability to turn everything, even war itself, into some kind of cosmic joke. "Send word to High Command," he said finally. "The humans are not like the others. They don't fear death. They don't break under pressure. They don't follow any logical patterns of behavior. And worst of all, they're teaching our own troops to be like them." As if to emphasize his point, distant laughter echoed through the ship's corridors, Imperial soldiers learning human card games during their break. The Empire was not just losing a war, it was losing its identity. General Adams stood in Earth's combined command center, watching as hundreds of blips appeared on the massive screen. Each dot represented a new type of ship humanity had never built before, a hybrid of Earth technology and stolen Imperial designs. "Launch Operation Frankenstein," he ordered. Across the solar system, shipyards hidden in asteroid belts and beneath planetary surfaces came alive. The ships that emerged looked like something from a mad scientist's dream. Old nuclear submarines retrofitted with Imperial engines, fighter jets wrapped in alien armor, cargo ships carrying railguns powered by Imperial energy cores. "First wave launching, sir," reported Commander Wilson. "The Empire's sensors are going crazy trying to identify our ships. They can't tell if they're human or Imperial technology." That was exactly the point. Humanity had taken the Empire's perfect, standardized designs and turned them into something messy, unpredictable, and uniquely human. "Sir," a young officer called out, "the farming colony on Mars is reporting success with their modified terraforming equipment." On another screen, Adams watched as Imperial ships near Mars were caught in massive dust storms. The colonists had taken Imperial terraforming technology, combined it with ordinary farming equipment, and turned the red planet's dust into a weapon. "Status report on Project Thunder?" Adams asked. Wilson grinned. "The Australian team came through, sir. They combined Imperial shield technology with their radio telescope array. They can now focus and amplify lightning storms from Earth's atmosphere into space." The main screen showed the effects. Imperial ships that ventured too close to Earth were being struck by lightning bolts 1,000 times stronger than natural ones. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons and physical impacts, had no protocols for dealing with focused natural phenomena. "Update from the Kennedy Space Center," another officer reported. "They've successfully attached Imperial gravity drives to our old space shuttle fleet. The Empire's ships don't know how to react to vessels that use both rocket fuel and gravity manipulation." Adams nodded with satisfaction. Every human military base and research center had been given the same orders: take Imperial technology and mix it with human ingenuity in the most unexpected ways possible. The results were beautiful chaos. In orbit around Jupiter, fishing trawlers equipped with Imperial cloaking devices were laying space mines made from modified weather satellites. Near Venus, a fleet of school buses fitted with alien engines and weaponry was running circles around Imperial cruisers. The Empire's tactical computers were having breakdowns trying to classify threats that shouldn't exist. "Message from the Russian space station," Wilson said. "They've successfully tested the hybrid weapons system. Imperial energy weapons combined with old Soviet missile technology. They're calling it the Cosmic Kalashnikov." The Empire's response to humanity's counterattack was exactly what they'd hoped for: total confusion. Their strategic AI systems, programmed to recognize and counter specific types of technology, couldn't handle weapons that were half primitive, half advanced. "Sir, the Indian Space Research Organization is reporting their project is ready," an officer announced. "They've merged Imperial faster-than-light drives with their old communication satellites. We can now broadcast Bollywood movies directly into Imperial ships during faster-than-light travel." That brought a laugh from the command center staff. The Empire's crews, already struggling with human unpredictability, would now have to deal with spontaneous musical numbers appearing on their navigation screens. "Launch the second wave," Adams ordered. "Let's show them what happens when humans decide to get creative with advanced technology." As he watched humanity's bizarre fleet engage the Empire's forces, Adams remembered an old saying: "Necessity is the mother of invention." Humanity had taken that idea and turned it up to 11. They weren't just inventing new weapons, they were rewriting the rules of what was possible in warfare. The Empire had given humanity access to advanced technology, expecting them to copy it exactly. Instead, humans had done what they do best. They took it apart, mixed it with their own tech, and created something new that defied all logic and expectations. The Empire was learning a crucial lesson. Never give humans advanced technology unless you're prepared to see it used in ways that would make its original designers cry. Admiral Marcus stood before the Imperial High Command, his scales a mix of defeat white and shame gray. The holographic faces of the Empire's highest leaders stared down at him, their expressions showing a mix of disbelief and growing fear. "You mean to tell us," the Grand Commander spoke, his scales flickering with anger, "that our mighty empire, ruler of 1,000 galaxies, is retreating from a single primitive planet?" Marcus straightened his spine. "My lords, these humans, they're different. In my 300 years of conquest, I've never seen anything like them." He activated a holographic display, showing scenes from the war. Humans turning Imperial technology into unrecognizable hybrid weapons. Earth soldiers laughing as they charged into battle. Prison guards and human captives playing games together. Imperial ships being defeated by modified farming equipment. Our latest psychology report classifies humans as fundamentally incomprehensible, Marcus continued. They treat war like a game, death like an inconvenience, and defeat like a temporary setback. They've turned our own technology against us in ways that defy all logic and reason. One of the High Command members leaned forward. "Surely our superior numbers mean nothing," Marcus interrupted. "For every ship we destroy, they build 2 more out of the wreckage. They're treating our most advanced technology like children's building blocks, mixing it with their primitive devices to create weapons our systems can't even recognize." He showed them more footage. Imperial ships being taken down by lightning weapons, human vessels powered by both rocket fuel and gravity drives, Earth's entertainment being broadcast into Imperial command centers during battles. "Worst of all," Marcus added, "they're infecting our own troops with their chaos. 3 Imperial fleets have already gone rogue, claiming they want to learn the human way of life. They're calling themselves Humanity's Fan Club." The Grand Commander's scales turned pale. "Are you suggesting these humans could actually threaten the Empire itself?" "My lords," Marcus replied, "they already are. Not through conventional conquest, but through something far more dangerous: influence. Our soldiers are beginning to question our rigid structure. They're asking why we can't be more human." The High Command chamber erupted in shocked whispers. In 10,000 years, no species had ever made Imperial troops question their own culture. "We must withdraw," Marcus concluded, "not just from Earth, but from this entire sector of space. I recommend classifying the human territory as a reality dysfunction zone, a place where the normal laws of civilization don't apply." He played his final piece of evidence, a video of human children playing Empire and humans in a park, perfectly imitating Imperial commands while making them sound silly. Several Imperial guards could be heard laughing in the background. The Grand Commander's scales shifted to decision green. "Prepare the withdrawal order. Mark all human-controlled space as forbidden territory. Add a warning. This species defies conventional analysis. Attempt no contact." As the orders went out across the mighty empire, something unprecedented happened. Instead of the usual formal acknowledgments, many Imperial ships responded with human phrases they'd learned. "Roger that. Copy that. On it, boss." Some even added something called emoji to their official reports. Marcus watched from his flagship as the Imperial fleet began its retreat. On his screen, a final message from Earth appeared. "Thanks for the tech. Come back when you're ready to party instead of fight. P.S. We're keeping the surrender betting pool open, just in case." He couldn't help it. For the first time in his Imperial career, Admiral Marcus laughed. Back on Earth, humanity celebrated not just their victory, but their newest export: chaos. They had taught the mighty empire that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe isn't technology, or numbers, or even military might. It's the ability to look at the impossible, laugh, and say, "Hold my beer." The empire learned what countless others would soon discover. Earth was more than just a planet. It was nature's practical joke on the orderly universe, a place where the impossible became probable, and the serious became silly. They had warned the Empire to run. Next time, maybe the aliens would listen.